A very good afternoon to all my dear students. Once again, on behalf of ICAI, I welcome all of you back to this virtual platform for moving ahead and completing the last chapter of business law, that is Companies Act. So very good afternoon, Gautam, Sneha, Chanchal. Thank you, Sneha Singh. Good afternoon, Akshita, Harshita, Tanvi, Shruti, Saloni, Ritu, Pratima, Varun, Nishi, Rakhi, Janvi, all of you children. So I'm glad that you have revised and completed your LLP as well. So you have recently done limited liability partnership. So first you did Indian Contract Act. We had commercial transactions. We taught you how the contract is made. Then we went for the shopping together and we were seller and buyer. We were purchasing the goods and we were selling them and we were trying to find what happens if there is any kind of breach. Then we opened up a partnership, joined hands, and we were having general rights and duties, but a huge unlimited liability. So sir must have told you how you can limit your liability by opening an LLP, as well as getting the corporate structure. Now my students have learned all about partnership, LLP. Yes, I'm seeing your comments. Let me just give you an introduction and then we'll go to the good afternoon wishes as well. So now you have already studied about opening a partnership and giving it a limited liability effect. We should open an LLP having a limited liability partnership. But still, if your hunger for expansion of business has not stopped, you want a legal corporate structure, you are ready to take up the liabilities, you want the shares investment, you want the public to come and invest in you, you want the private opening company. In such a case, you can invest in huge money and you can have another form of organization, that is companies. So absolutely correct. Today we are going to start about how Companies Act was incorporated, what are the silent features of companies, and what is actually understood by companies under business law. So good afternoon, Rakhi, Amar, Sneha, Pratyush, Durga, Priyadarshini. Thank you, Vidisha Dev, and I'm glad to meet you all again. Thank you, Tanvi. Thank you, Shirinath. Shirinati Ji, thank you so much. Vindhya, Venkat Lakshmi, Dhruv, Sanika, Sakshi. Good afternoon, Om, Kamal. Yes, definitely. You still want to invest in more money and you want to set up a business. Miss Srinati, yes, definitely. Then company has to be there. Thank you, Vedahi Goel. Good afternoon, Saloni, Pavan, Anjali, Komal, all of you children. All right. So now we will be starting with companies, and I understand all my good students have revised their sale of goods and they have been going through mock test papers as well. And you have been doing all the questions related to your partnership as well as sale of goods. Still, if you feel that you have any doubts, you can send me your question numbers over here in the admin blog. I will make a note of it today. And maybe in the next class, when we meet for last 2 more classes, we can try to cover up that as well. But children, please don't forget, even after company law classes end, please make a proper timetable. You have 2 months time in your hand. Don't waste a single minute. काफी बारी ऐसा होता है कि जब आप टीचर के साथ पढ़ रहे हैं तो सब्जेक्ट सीम्स वेरी इजी टू यू, बट इफ यू डोंट रिवाइज इट, इफ यू आर नॉट कंसिस्टेंट विद योर स्टडीज, then definitely you tend to forget. So again, law is all about a memory game. The more you can retain, जैसे मैथ्स को बार बार प्रैक्टिस करने से ही समझ आता था. You cannot say that yes, I have learned it, I've listened to the teacher once in the class, then I don't need to revise it. Similarly, law is a subject which needs lots and lots of revision. All right. So well done, all those who have written that we have been revising as well. Okay, that's great. So today we are going to begin with Companies Act. So can anyone tell me what is the meaning of a company? Can you tell me what do you understand by company? What is the meaning of company? So you can write your answers over here. Let me see how many of you know this. What is company? Definitely, Palak, it's there. Partnership Unit 3 as well. It's there, but still, I will try to figure out if some problem is coming. Artificial person created by lawyer's company. Okay, Asha Begum, we will discuss it in a while. Important and ask questions. All right, Deepak Thakur. Yes, Mr. Kevin, definitely you can. All right. A company is an artificial person. Where to find mock tests? Harshita is asking. So, Harshita, you simply have to log into the website of IC. So, you simply have to log into the ICI portal. I'll just show you on the website where it is written, and we can do some mock test papers after we are done with this chapter as well. Kevin says it's a body incorporated under Section 2. Company is an association of persons. No, Miss Sahana, company is different. Association of persons is different. But yes, it is also people bringing together. Artificial person, Mr. Sadab, that's correct. Saloni Sharma, excellent definition. Palak, that's correct. All right. So most of you have mentioned that company is an artificial judicial person having a separate legal entity. That's wonderful. So what is this artificial person? Remember, in partnership, is partnership firm an artificial person? Yes or no? Jaldi batao. Kya partnership bhi artificial person hai? Yes, Mr. Adish Shah, definitely we will take the MTRPs, RTPs as well after covering the lectures, definitely. But first we have to pay concentration on completing the slips. Okay, tell me, students, partnership is also an artificial person? A firm is also an artificial person? Yes or no? No, ma'am. Correct. Saloni, it's no. No is the correct answer. Venkat Lakshmi says yes. No is the correct answer. Why it is no? Because partnership is created by partners bringing together, and firm is the collective name given to the partners. Partnership में कोई भी artificial person existence में नहीं आता है. But company के case में company is an artificial person created by law. So once the company has been incorporated, it gets a separate legal existence. So today at length, we will be discussing what are the features of companies, how the corporate bail theory is made, what are the characteristics of corporate bail theory. Then further, Children Companies Act is very, very small. It's the tiniest act of your entire syllabus, and you are lucky that you are giving your exams in November. I would really want all of you to thoroughly study so that you don't postpone it till May 2024, because then the syllabus gets changed. So it's very important that you study it nicely, and definitely student hard work does pay. If anyone knows that they have not cleared an exam, so they are very sure about what mistakes they must have made. So if you are thorough with your studies, if you are doing it, and all the subjects, please play a very, very importance to all the subjects. Many a times students do law very nicely, accounts अच्छे से पढ़ लेते हैं, 11th 12th वाला ही है, अच्छे से revise कर लिया, economics पढ़ लिया, maths पढ़ते ही नहीं है. And then you have those kind of objective questions also, and then you fail in maths, everything is gone. So all the questions, all the chapters, equal importance has to be given, then only you can clear your CA foundation. तो वो कहते हैं ना कि लग जाओ बस अब, तो बस वैसे लग जाओ, and पूरा timetable, all your room should be decorated with beautiful timetable for all the subjects. Just studies, that's what you have to target, along with refreshment of mind with some hobbies, but no wastage of time. All right? Okay. So let's move ahead. So after that, we will be talking about the types of companies, share capital, and memorandum. So I was telling you, this is the smallest act. So very, very spory. मतलब इसको जब हम पढ़ लेंगे 3 लेक्चर्स में, साथ के साथ ही लर्न करके रख देना, ताकि आपको कभी भी मुश्किल ना. LLP is little vast, but only 5 marks questions come from that. So you can do all the important questions from LLP. But companies in itself is very small. You just have 6 topics. You can see they are in front of you on the screen. You have only these 6, 7 topics, but you have to study them in detail. Class of companies in itself involve huge types of companies. So each and every type of company is important. Somebody asking anything we can leave? No, you cannot leave anything. Study material is the Bible along with my notes. That's it. Everything has to be done. You can't leave a single line from the study material. Take my words. So let's read to the introduction of Companies Act. It says Companies Act 2013 was preceded by Companies Act 1956. तो बच्चों पहले क्या होता था? Companies Act 1956 जब बना था तो 1956 की provisions 2013 तक same वही follow होती थी. But a major amendment was made in 2013 year in which the entire Companies Act was amended. Now, if you ask me for any change in the book, your study material is highly updated with all the latest amendments. So you don't have to look in for any further amendments. So you can follow the Companies Act 2015, which is given in your study material. Why the changes made? Because central government wanted to replace it with a new legislation because of the economical changes, expansion and growth of the economy. And you know, the major changes that happened in this Companies Act is an OPC was created. What is the meaning of OPC? Till now, you have been discussing about having two parties in a contract and buyer and seller being two parties. Then partners, minimum 2 people were required. LLP, minimum 2 people were required. Public and private company also minimum 2 people and minimum 7 are required in public. But what is OPC? It is a new concept which has come up, that is one-person company. So from time to time, amendment keeps coming in the Companies Act in order to facilitate the growth of the economy, to manage and move along with the expansion of the nation. So one-person company is an amazing concept. So you studied one person is a sole proprietor. But today I will tell you how that sole proprietor alone can also move ahead and open up a company. So OPC is a very, very important and new concept that has come up in your Companies Act. And many a time it's examiner's favorite question also. Every alternate exam, this question on OPC has been come. So that's why amendments happen in Companies Act. So OPC is one of the amazing amendment which tells you that even a single person can open up a company and get that corporate legal existence. All right. So there are 470 sections, 7 schedules and 29 chapters. So if you ask me, ma'am, we have to do all these in CA Foundation. So my dear students, the answer is no to that. All these 470 sections and 7 schedules is part of your CA Inter syllabus. So आप CA Inter में in detail corporate law पढ़ते हो. Foundation is again laying the foundation. जैसे घर बनाने से पहले नींव रखते हैं. Foundation रखते हैं. So this is the foundation, the basics you'll be studying in CA Foundation. And it's very, very interesting, very small concepts, just understanding about what this company all about. So you just have 5 to 7 questions that you have to do in CA Foundation, but the entire corporate law is covered in CA Inter syllabus. So as of now, we're just laying your foundation. So you have just small questions in Companies Act. So what is exactly a company? Company hota kya hai? So it says, what is the company? It's an artificial, invisible. What is the meaning of invisible? Can you see a company? आपने बोला मैम आर्टिफिशियल पर्सन क्रिएट होता है कि क्या वो एक ह्यूमन बीइंग बन जाता है? नो, इट्स इनविजिबल. इट एग्जिस्ट्स ओनली ऑन पेपर्स. द नेम ऑफ द कंपनी इज ओनली ऑन पेपर्स. यू कैन नॉट सी इट. And the company, being invisible and artificial person, is run by its directors. So there is always a human agency which is hiding in back of the company, which is running that company. Company cannot walk on its own and start doing business. You need someone who is behind the company for running the business. Existing only in the contemplation of law means कानून की नजरों में. हिंदी में इसका मतलब होता है law की नजरों में. So only in the contemplation of law. So in the eyes of law, it exists. So if 2 people, A and B, has made a company, ABC Private Limited. Now this company is different. ABC Private Limited is different, and these 3 members are different. So company gets a good corporate separate legal existence. So now if law wants to file a case against this company, it can still do that. All right. So this is the definition which I want my students to learn. For Professor Henry, what definition he has given. It is an artificial person created by law. Number one, having a separate legal existence. Number two, perpetual succession. Number three, it has a common seal. So common seal is the signatures of the companies, how it has been amended. We will talk when we discuss its features. So basically, Professor Haney, that the definition they have given, they are just trying to sum up the features of a company. And section 2 subsection of section में क्या definition दी हुई है? As per the provisions of Companies Act 2013, company is defined as company incorporated under this act or under any other previous company law. अब इसका मतलब क्या है? अगर आपने कोई कंपनी एबीसी प्राइवेट लिमिटेड अगर आपने 1986 में बनाई थी, तो क्या ये भी कंपनी है? So section 2 subsection 20 कहते हैं yes, any company incorporated under 2013 act or under any, now 1986 was being covered by 1956 provisions, no? So that company will also be covered under the definition of Companies Act 2013. Fair enough. So you learn these definitions. That's it. Now, applicability of Companies Act is very interesting. Companies Act 2013 applicable किस को है? वो कहते हैं बैंक भी कंपनीज होती है, बैंकिंग कंपनीज होती है, इंश्योरेंस की भी कंपनीज होती है, तो किस को एप्लीकेबल करने हैं? क्या हम सबको एप्लीकेबल कर दें? क्या कंपनीज, कोई भी आप कंपनी बनाओगे तो उसको एप्लीकेबल है? लॉ कहते हैं यस, any company you incorporate, whether it's insurance, banking, everywhere this act is applicable. Now it says companies incorporated. पहला वाला तो वही है definition वाला. Any company incorporated under this act itself or under any previous company law means 1986 में बनी, 1996 में बनी, 2000 में बनी, 2002 में बनी, 1967 में बनी, any previous company law. So 1956 was the previous company law. There was also Companies Act 1966. Amendments have been happening. So whatever the company has been incorporated under the Companies Act, this act is applicable to all those companies. Number 2, insurance companies. अब आपने इंश्योरेंस कंपनी खोली, आपने बोला कि हम प्रीमियम लेंगे लोगों से and उनको as and when the fire occurred, we will provide them fire insurance. So you opened up XYZ insurance company. Now, is Companies Act applicable to it? Now, very interesting thing. Law says when you opened up an insurance company, then Insurance Act 1938 or the IRDA Act 1999 is applicable. So it says overall the Companies Act 2013 will be applicable to all the insurance company except where the provisions are inconsistent with their own respective act. So क्या मतलब है? वो कहते हैं अगर if it is an insurance company, so to this Companies Act is applicable. However, which is the major act? However, major act will be their own act, Insurance Act. So all the provisions of the Insurance Act 1938 will be applicable. So wherever the provisions are inconsistent, means where insurance company is the major act, Insurance Act will be the major act, it will be regulating all the provisions. But somewhere some things which is not defined, like the number of members, how many you can take, is it a private or a public company, is provisions related, Companies Act will be followed. So overall Companies Act will have the hold on insurance companies, but wherever these specific provisions have been assigned for Insurance Act, those will be followed. Similarly for banking companies. So it says all the provisions of Companies Act is applicable to the banking companies. So you open up any kind of bank, HDFC, ICICI, any kind of companies you have opened up, Companies Act will be applicable. However, where the Banking Regulation Act is saying something, their Companies Act will become silent. So it is overruled by the particular respective act. हर organization अपने जो एक act से जुड़ी हुई है, उस act की provisions भी applicable है, जहां पे inconsistency आ जाती है. Inconsistency means where there is a fight between two acts. Now, Companies Act is saying something else and banking regulation is saying something else. So if it is a banking company, please follow Banking Regulation Act. So all the provisions of Companies Act is applicable except where Banking Regulation Act is saying something, there you have to follow for that respective company. Similarly, companies formed for the Electricity Act 2003 is applicable. Any other company governed by any special act. So our own ICAI, it is governed by ICAI Act. So any statutory organizations which are governed by the respective act, that act will be applicable to them, having the overall provision of Companies Act following. All right. So this is entirely about the applicability of Companies Act. If examiner gives you a 2 marks or 4 marks question straight away, you simply have to write down these 4-5 points. All right. Why did not get erased? Just a second. So definition हो गया, companies का applicability हो गया. Now let's understand the silent features of the Companies Act. So can you see these huge big buildings? So when you go over the highways from Gurgaon or Mumbai or Bangalore, you see such in metro cities, big buildings build up. So that is the structure of the company. It says it's a body corporate. The body of the company is of a corporate kind of structure. Company create karne se doesn't mean that any robot or a human being come into existence. वैसे वो भी दिन दूर नहीं है. Artificial intelligence is really doing wonders. So you might start having robots running a companies all over, and at some places it is still happening. But still, you cannot create a company which is walking and talking on its own. Its body of the company is of a corporate kind of structure, like you can see these huge buildings of Tata and other kind of companies. And it says it has a perpetual succession. Now, this is very, very interesting. Perpetual succession. Does partnership had perpetual succession? No, ma'am. When all the partners died, the partnership also came to an end. But company still continues to exist. If there are 5 members in a company and all of them just went abroad, they left the country, will the company continue to exist? The answer is yes. It has perpetual succession का English में meaning लिख लीजिए. It means it has a continuous existence. It has a continuous existence. Children, weightage of these chapter, those who are asking, is again around 12 to 14 marks. And when we go to the mock test papers, I'll show you how the questions, where the questions come from. Very Goel, you have to do all the amendments wherever applicable. Yes, Samit, we will cover wherever the amendments have happened. Yes, Vansh Arora, you can do that. Don't worry. Okay, Vishal Sharma, don't worry. We will complete the entire syllabus together. Don't worry. Yes, Kevin, that was a great example of giving for the act. Fatima, we will do the mock test papers. Then I will show you how you have to go to that link. Deepak Thakur is asking, in 2 marks, can we only write 2 points? So again, depends if for example, he has asked you what is a company for 2 marks. So then if you're defining, giving the proper definition in 3-4 lines, that is absolutely sufficient. Yes, Saloni Sharma, anyone can come and go, but the company continues to exist. That is absolutely correct. She also says the same. Continues. Okay, how many points we have to write in 4 marks? So it all depends upon the question. If examiner asks you, for example, if there is a question, undue influence, how can you define the relationship that impacts the undue influence? Then All right. Thank you, Ritu. Yes, Ishika Roy, you can learn any one definition. Shruti Tiwari, any special act for the time being in force means that whatever act is being applicable at that particular time. So अगर Companies Act 1956 applicable था तो Google Act follow होगा. अब Companies Act 2013 applicable है तो Google Act follow है. ICAI ने अपनी बॉडी बनाई है, ICAI Act follow होगा तो फिर उनका जो एक्ट बना हुआ है रिस्पेक्टिव वो वाला follow. Okay, Punjabi essay, when we go to mock test papers, we will learn how to attempt the practical questions, although we have done few in case of sale of goods also. Okay. So perpetual succession, all of you have given the correct understanding. That means the company continues to exist. So if there are 5 partners who went abroad and the company is still existing, company will continue to exist unless and until its name is removed from the registrar of companies. So you need to make an application, winding up of company happens and its name has to be striked off by the National Company Law Tribunal. You have to file an application and you have to get the name striked off from the registrar of companies. All right. So perpetual succession is absolutely correct. Body corporate is also correct. Separate legal existence. Now, this is what I have been telling you, children. This particular company is separate from its members. Who are the members? Members are the shareholders. Okay. Yes, you have to learn the definitions. Don't worry about that. If any particular definition has been asked in the exam, you can write it in your own words also. Okay. Nishi Garg has now went into partnership. After death of a partner, the owner, the shares are transferred to the legal heirs. So if that particular legal heirs are joining in as a partnership, then there will be a different story. Otherwise, bacha, the share and the profits of that particular partner, who deceased partner who has died, is given to the legal representatives. Okay. Vishal Sharma, again, you have written a query between partnerships. So just remind me later on. Let me just complete these characteristics. Company and shareholders are different. That's correct, Anusha. Sushant, relationship between LLP. So LLP is different and company is different. So in LLP, it's a limited liability partnership. You must have done the points of differences. They are given under LLP chapter. Please go through those points of differences as well. Company gets a separate legal existence. LLP also get a separate legal existence, but it is a partnership form of organization. A company is a company form of organization. It's a corporate structure. All right. पार्टनरशिप एक्ट सेक्शन 16 में पार्टनरशिप में थर्ड पार्टी पर सूट नहीं करा जा सकता. हम ब्रीच ऑफ इंडियन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के अकॉर्डिंग कर सकते हैं. विशाल शर्मा, योर क्वेश्चन इज नॉट क्लियर. प्लीज राइट व्हाट यू वांट टू आस्क. ओके. Yes, Gautam Verma, all the amendments, recent one, are applicable for December attempt. I think there is only one small amendment of small company or OPC in Companies Act. We will cover that as well. Don't worry. Okay, Krishnam Rathi, that's correct. Now let's come back to here. I'm not looking into your queries. Makora versus Northern Insurance Company Limited. Children, who have done too many case laws in Indian Contract Act. Then we did many of the case laws in sale of goods. There were very few case laws, MD Kamath and KD Kamath and Santi Ranjan Das Gupta, and one or two more in partnership. Now, Companies Act is another act which is full of case laws. In Companies Act is again full of case laws. Okay. Aniket, I will just explain you that point. Give me 5 minutes. Let me just complete this question and then we will come back to that specific question that you have asked. Okay. Yes, Vishal Sharma, without registration, you cannot file a suit. All right. But third party can still sue you even if you're not a registered firm. I think this is what you want to ask. All right. Now, Makora versus Northern Insurance Company Limited. This is the first case law that we are going to start with off today. So in companies, you will have around 6 to 7 case law students, out of which I think 7 to 8, important case laws you have in Companies Act, and out of which around 5 case laws we are going to do today. So please be patient and listen carefully. So 5 case laws is not a very easy task. I have a target of completing these 5 case laws with all of you today. So if you will pay attention and listen it carefully, you will be able to learn these case laws today itself. So Makora versus Northern Insurance Company Limited is a case law for separate legal entity. We will just take the detailed case law from the study material. Another point is artificial legal person. What does it mean? That once the company has been incorporated, एक बार जब वो ठप्पा लग गया registration of company का, तो company can own its property. So ABC Private Limited आपने company बनाई, अब वो ABC Private Limited के अपने property भी हो सकती है, वो case भी file कर सकती है किसी के against, उस कंपनी के अगेंस्ट केस फाइल भी करा जा सकता है. कैन sue or be sued means that the case can be filed against this kind of company. Now this particular company can also enter into contracts. So tomorrow you want to make a rent agreement with ABC Private Limited, you can have a document saying ABC Private Limited versus Vishal. A rent agreement has been made. So that can also happen. Okay, so company gets its own legal person. It has come into existence. And tomorrow, if the company is not paying your rent, you can file a case against this ABC Private Limited. However, it is acting through human agency. तो वो केस अगर आपने फाइल करा तो अब ये तो है नहीं कि एबीसी प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कोर्ट में जाएगी. कोर्ट में तो डायरेक्टर्स या मेंबर्स ही जाएंगे. So shareholders, all those who are asking, members, shareholders, I will explain you when we discuss about the promoters. तब मैं आपको पूरा समझाऊंगी शेयर कौन होते हैं, स्टेक होल्डर्स कौन. अभी के लिए आप मेंबर्स एंड शेयर होल्डर्स को वन मानकर चल सकते. द मेंबर्स व्हेन दे टेक अप द शेयर्स इन द कंपनी, दे आर ओनली नोन एज द शेयर होल्डर्स. एंड बिफोर मेकिंग द कंपनी, यू ऑल आर प्रमोटर्स. व्हेन यू सब्सक्राइब एंड साइन द मेमोरेंडम, यू आर सब्सक्राइबर्स. So they are the same people, but the different names have been given, which we understand when we discuss section 9, that is registration of companies. So once the company has been formed, it can has a property in its own name and it can also enter into contracts, but all these things are being done through a human agency, that is the directors and the shareholders. And then you get a common seal. How the common seal needs to be signed, we will just see the amendment from the study material. Common seal basically means signing of the signatures of the company. You can simply put that thappa and you can say that the company seal has been mentioned. This is a signed document. And then you have limited liability. Again, the benefit of limited liability. Here in case of company, your liability is either limited by shares or by guarantee, or you have unlimited liability. Please write it down. The liability of the company is, number one, either limited by shares or limited by guarantee, or it is unlimited company. Yes, Mr. Kevin, Salomon is my favorite and we will just do it in a while. Human agency, Saloni Sharma is asking what is human agency? Bacha, human agency means through humans. Human beings. Company cannot act on its own. आपने कागज में कंपनी क्रिएट कर दी, यहाँ पे नाम लिख दिया कंपनी का, बट अब ये कागज तो नहीं ना चलकर केस फाइल कर सकता. सपोज इस कंपनी की डायरेक्टर मैं हूं, तो फिर मुझे जाना पड़ेगा कि हमारे लिए नोटिस आया है हमारी कंपनी के अगेंस्ट, प्लीज लेट अस नो व्हाट वी हैव टू डू. सो ह्यूमन एजेंसी मींस द इंडिविजुअल्स. ओके, all right. So you have written down limited liability, how the liability is limited. Let us now open the study material and cover all these points from the study as well. So here is the applicability given. Any body corporate for the time being in force, all these sections. So, Aniket, you were asking about this word succulently. It says the definition given by Professor Hane has summed up the entire features of a company very nice, very broadly. He has covered up. So basically, he is trying to tell you that these are the kind of features of the company which he has included in the definition. उसने definition में ही उसके features को include करके उसका introduction दे दिया. Okay. Now let's move to the separate legal concepts. It says the law, a person is different from the subscribers. Now, who are the subscribers? I was just telling you, when you open up a company, so number one, there are promoters who have come up with an idea. Suppose you, me, A, B, and C have come up with an idea to open up a company of electrical appliances. So we have come up with a different idea that we will make an electrical appliance which saves a lot of energy and electricity, and it is a kind of a blender which can do different kind of things. Any kind of idea you have come. So just a vague thing came in my mind. So now we have come up with an idea. So we have decided to open a company for this. So here we are promoters. अब अभी आपके दिमाग में आइडिया है, आप कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स हैं, आप पढ़ रहे हैं, आप सीधा थोड़ी ना शेयर होल्डर बन गए. अभी तो दिमाग में आइडिया आया है. You want to promote this idea. So you are known as promoters. Promoters are those who have come up with an idea of opening certain type of company. So now when these promoters sign the memorandums and file an application, so when they make a memorandum, they will write down all the points, what they want to do in the company, what will be the name of the company, and they sign that memorandum. At this time of signing the memorandum, they are known as subscribers to the memorandums. उनको ये कहा जाता है, जो बंदे memorandum sign कर रहे हैं, उनको कहा जाता है subscribers to the memorandum. Now, law says once your company gets formed, it's registered, then this person who has signed is different from the company that he has created. Even members can contract with the company. So you can also make a sign a contract with your own company. You can also incur liability to it. Only the creditors can sue and not the members. However, for the debts, the creditors can take an action, but the members will never take an action against their own company. So company has the benefit of disposing of its property in its own name. अब आपने इलेक्ट्रिकल अप्लायंसेस का आइडिया आया था, आपने एबीसी प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी बना दी. अब नाउ टेल मी वन थिंग, टुमारो यू वांट टू टेक द इंश्योरेंस फॉर दिस कंपनी. आपने इंश्योरेंस करवानी है कि आपका इतना सारा इलेक्ट्रिकल अप्लायंसेस स्टोर में पड़ा है, तो कल को कोई फायर अकर हो जाए, कोई प्रॉब्लम हो जाए, तो सारा ये जो आपके प्रोडक्ट्स पड़े हैं गोडाउन में एंड स्टोर में डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाएंगे. सो हम जनरली क्या करते हैं, बिग बिजनेसमैन, दे टुक इंश्योरेंस. So now I went to the insurance company and I said that please give me insurance. So should I take the insurance in the name of Harleen, or maybe ABC were the members, ABC members, or should I take the insurance in the name of ABC Private Limited? What do you think? Use your common sense and tell me. मैंने एक कंपनी की इंश्योरेंस लेनी है इन प्रोडक्ट्स के लिए. So ABC Private Limited is the name of the company and the members are Mr. A, Mr. B and Mr. C. So what should I do? Should I take the insurance in the name of Mr. A? That will also be fine. Or I need to take it in the name of all the members. How should I do? Angel says in the name of shareholders, in the name of ABC Private Limited, in the name of the company. That's great. Wonderful. So now the same case happened with Makora versus Northern Assurance Company Limited. Excellent students, you all have answered it correctly. So ABC Private Limited के नाम पे अगर इंश्योरेंस होगी, तभी तो कंपनी को इंश्योरेंस मिल पाएगी. What proves this? This line proves this point, that the company can own, enjoy and dispose the property in its own name. कंपनी के नाम पे प्रॉपर्टी है तो इंश्योरेंस भी कंपनी के नाम पे होना चाहिए. बट मिस्टर मकोरा ने ये गलती करी. उसने अच्छे से सीए फाउंडेशन लगता है पढ़ी नहीं थी आप लोगों की तरह. आपको तो आता है एबीसी प्राइवेट लिमिटेड को मिलनी चाहिए इंश्योरेंस बिकॉज उसकी कंपनी है. तो मकोरा ने क्या करा, मकोरा एक सोल प्रोप्राइटर था जो कि टिम्बर का बिजनेस करता था. वुड होती है ना जो हम वुड सेल एंड परचेज करते हैं. टिम्बर इज अ काइंड ऑफ वुड. सो ही वाज देन ही ओपनड अप अ कंपनी. 99 शेयर्स उसने होल्ड करे एक्सेप्ट वन. मींस ही वाज द होल्डर ऑफ 99 शेयर्स. ऑल द शेयर्स ही आर बीइंग हेल्ड बाय मकोरा एंड ही ओपनड अप अ टिम्बर कंपनी. अभी मैंने आपको बताया आप कंपनी के क्रेडिटर भी हो सकते हो, तो ही वाज आल्सो अ मेजर क्रेडिटर ऑफ द कंपनी. Okay, company had to pay him certain money. He has incurred a liability for the company. Now, what does this M did, Makora did? He stored the company's timber in his own name. हुआ क्या था, मकोरा जब बिजनेस कर रहा था एज ए सोल प्रोप्राइटर, तो उसने जब हम सोल प्रोप्राइटर है, हरलीन मैन इज डूइंग द बिजनेस. सपोज आई एम इनटू सेल एंड परचेज ऑफ दीज वाटर बॉटल्स. So I am a sole proprietor. These are my water bottles. I will get the insurance in my name. So Harleen Enterprises or Harleen, they are one and the same thing because it's a sole proprietor. So now Makora got this insurance in his own name. When he was a sole proprietor, उसने अपने नाम पे इंश्योरेंस करवाया. बट बाद में उसने इसको इस सोल प्रोप्राइटर को कंपनी में बना दिया एंड ही वाज होल्डिंग ऑल द शेयर्स इन दिस कंपनी नाउ बट ही फॉरगॉट टू चेंज द इंश्योरेंस इन द नेम ऑफ कंपनी द इंश्योरेंस वाज स्टिल इन हिज ओन नेम ये लाइन अंडरलाइन कर लेना बहुत जरूरी द इंश्योरेंस वाज इन हिज ओन नेम टिम्बर गॉट लॉस्ट इन फायर फायर अकर हो गई सारा टिम्बर लॉस्ट हो गया मकोरा क्लेम द इंश्योरेंस कंपनसेशन वो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी के पास गया और कहता मेरे को पैसे दे दो जी मैंने तो इंश्योरेंस कराई हुई थी हर साल प्रीमियम भरता हूं इंश्योरेंस कंपनी सेड आई एम सॉरी वी आर नॉट लायबल टू यू because shareholder has no right on any right of the property owned by the company you cannot have any legal or equitable right this is your company so Makora ने कहा मेरे नाम पे इंश्योरेंस है आप मेरी कंपनी को दे दीजिए but Northern Insurance Company Limited said no you are Makora your company is different since the insurance is in your name and not in the name of company we cannot give you the insurance compensation. So in this particular case now children it was held that if you have opened up a company the company has a different property and the members suppose there are 4 members now these members are different companies different इन मेंबर्स की प्रॉपर्टी डिफरेंट है कंपनी की प्रॉपर्टी डिफरेंट है जिस ऑफिस में बैठकर आप कंपनी रन कर रहे हैं वो इस कंपनी की प्रॉपर्टी if now this property gets destroyed then insurance has to be claimed in the name of this company since it was in the name of Makora that's why no insurance compensation was paid because law held that you cannot even have the insurable interest company holds its own property so only company can get the insurance in its own name. So just go through this case law and we'll take a small break over here. All right, welcome back, students. Khushi is asking if it is taken separately for an insurance, then it would, yes. So that's correct. If it is a sole insurance, then the company will not get the insurance money. Harshita, what you did not understand, bacha, please ask that specific question. Thank you, Vishali. M claimed, Anshika Jain, M claimed insurance compensation means M went for claiming the insurance compensation, but then insurance company refused to pay. Okay. Yes, because separate legal entity is applicable, Aniket. That's wonderful. Okay. Good. All of you have given the correct answers, and I hope you have understood. Harshita, you can ask what you did not understand. Let's move ahead. Now, again, perpetual succession tells you that the companies go on till it is wound up. What is the meaning of wound up? So that means company comes to an end, winding up of the company happens. Now, when you go to CA enter, you will understand how the winding up of company happens, how the liquidator is appointed, how the assets and liabilities are disposed of. अभी हमने सिर्फ उतना जितना सीए फाउंडेशन का सिलेबस है वहां तक सोच कैसे बूंदा होगी क्या होगा इतना ज्यादा नहीं वैसे ही बहुत ज्यादा सिलेबस है उसको ही पढ़ लो बस आगे वाला इंटर में पढ़े ठीक है shares may change its hand but that does not affect the existence so somebody is coming somebody is leaving the company it continues to exist death and insolvency of members also doesn't affect even if all the members have died let's see an example many companies are in existence for more over 100 years this is because the company has perpetual existence. For example, a company has 7 members and all of them died in an aircraft. Company continues to exist. However, unlike partnership means partnership hoti to khatam ho jata. Kyunki partnership is because of the 5 members or 7 members who are partners. If they are no more, form ends. But company का एक legal ठप्पा जो कागजों में है वो company exist करती रहेगी जब तक उसका wind up नहीं हो. Now, liability में I made you write down 3 points. Company limited by shares, by guarantee and unlimited company. What is the meaning of company limited by shares? It means the number of value of shares that you have taken up in the company. So if you have taken up shares of rupees 10 per share, then you will be liable only for the rupees 10 per share that you have taken. If you have paid up rupees 8 and the balance which is unpaid value on the shares, then your liability is up to that value. So it entirely depends upon the number of shareholding that you're having in that particular company. What is the meaning of company limited by guarantee? Now, guarantee means somebody has given a guarantee that, okay, I will pay this much amount. See, for example, there is a company and the members A, B, and C has given a guarantee that I will pay up till rupees 5,000. B says I will pay up till rupees 2,000. And C says I will pay up till rupees 1,000. So now, in case of anything happen like this, that when the liability of the company goes into liquidation. So pehli baat hai, company limited by shares during lifetime, anytime the liability can occur. However, in case of a company limited by guarantee, only when the company is going to liquidation means company is coming to an end. अब जब मुझे उसकी liabilities dispose of करनी है, so A will not pay more than 5,000, B can only pay 2,000, C will only pay 1,000. This is the fixed amount. They cannot be asked to pay more than that. So in case of a company limited by guarantee, अपने words में लिख लेना, the amount, the liability is fixed by the guarantee that you have given. So you are not supposed to pay beyond that amount. And here it is the unpaid value of the shares. Unlimited company, you know better than me. Partnership में क्या था? Unlimited. Unlimited companies में भी कैसी liability है? Unlimited. Now, if your liability is 50,000, so my dear students, you cannot say that I will pay 5,000, I will pay 2,000. You have to dispose of this entire 50,000, even if you have to bring your personal assets from your home. So if you have opened up an unlimited company, then your personal assets are also liable. This again, we have already discussed in the presentation, artificial person. this is amazing. It says directors cannot control the affairs and act as its agency. So my question to you, in partnership we have understood mutual agency. तो क्या कंपनी में भी members and company have mutual agency? मोनिका चौधरी, आप भी बताओ बेटा, क्या कंपनी में भी members and company mutual agency relationship होता है? So Monica, we cannot take entire lecture in Hindi, but I'll try to accommodate both the languages, okay? Yes, Mohammed Shoaib, again, you are going into detail of insolvency, stay till foundation, but yes, that can happen, what you're asking. Sneha Singh, correct. Yes, Mr. Rohit, if Makora had insured the goods in the name of company, then he would have claimed. Very good. हर्षिता पाली, मकोरा केस में ये हुआ था कि जो इंश्योरेंस थी ना, उसके कंपनी के नाम पे नहीं थी, मकोरा के नाम पे थी. तो लॉ ने बोला कि कंपनी की प्रॉपर्टी है तो कंपनी के नाम पर इंश्योरेंस होना चाहिए. So that's why insurance company did not pay them the compensation, because the insurance was in the name of Makora, that is the individual, that is the member. It should have been in the name of the company. No mutual agency, that's correct. Ishika, Asha are saying, yes, it exists. No, that's wrong. Suraj, you're also wrong. Very good, others. Everyone has answered it correctly. Vidisha, Mohammed, Anshika, Aniket, Gautam, all of you are correct, because members are different, shareholders are different, so they don't have any mutual agency. Directors can own their own property, however, they can have the common seal. To authenticate the formal acts means उनको seal के through formally sign करना होता है, authenticate करना होता है, proof करना होता है कि ये जो भी act हमारी company कर रही है, ये legal है and it can be done. Now, Companies Amendment Act 2015 has made the common seal optional. अब वो कह रहे वैसे तो हमने common seal को features में include करा हुआ. This is fixed by the officers and employees of the company on every document. वो कहते हैं कंपनी के हर डॉक्यूमेंट के ऊपर, अगर आप देखोगे ना, आज जाकर चेक करना गूगल पे, कंपनी के हर डॉक्यूमेंट पे कंपनी की सील लगी होती है, एक उसका फॉर्मल लगा होता है. ओके. Yes, Miss Fatima, that the information is missing. So that is why I told you that Makora now made a company. So earlier he was a sole proprietor, then he converted himself into company. Mr. Rohit, I can't find your question right now, but first pay attention here and then we'll go back to the questions, children. So company's seal is fixed by the officers and employees means that this is a signed and implemented document. It is a symbol of its incorporation. Okay. Now section 9 says Companies Act 2015 में एक amendment हुई थी जिसमें उन्होंने कहा था common seal is now optional. So if in MCQs I ask you, is it compulsory to have common seal? So you'll say no, it's optional. Why? Because the words and common seal has now been omitted. Omitted means it has been removed. It is not necessary to have a common seal. You may have a common seal or you may not have it. It is up to your choice. So what happened in this amendment was that any document which needs to be authenticated by common seal will be required only if the company opts to have a common seal. Now, this is very, very important. This is the amendment which I wanted to discuss. So, पहला point तो ये है कि अगर आपकी common seal है, फिर तो आप common seal use करोगे. जैसे हमने company बनाई ABC Private Limited. Now, whichever document we are signing and whenever agreements we are making, we have to use that common seal. That particular thappa will be put on all the documents. Point number 2, ये तो point number 1 हो गया. Point number 2 कहते हैं, suppose we have chosen not to have a common seal. Now, if we are not having a common seal, how will we authorize the documents? Authorizing means signing कैसे करेंगे, documents को legal कैसे बनाएंगे, formal कैसे बनाएंगे. Now, the authorization means signing has to be given by 2 directors or by a director and company secretary if a company has a company secretary appointed. It says number 1, if yes, you have a common seal, you opted for it, then use that common seal. फिर तो वो कहते हैं ये common seal use करो and document को sign कर दो. If no, you have not opted to have common seal, then it says you have two options. What are those two options? What are those two options? Number one, signed by two directors. अब और is very interesting. और का मतलब होता है choice देना. अगर तो आपके पास कंपनी सेक्रेटरी नहीं है, फिर तो दो डायरेक्टर साइन करेंगे ही करेंगे. और if you have a company secretary, then one director and one CS means company secretary. If the company has appointed a company secretary, then that director and company secretary can sign it. Otherwise, two directors have to sign. Please write out in short notes. ये लिख लो जो सामने लिखा है. Gangu or Ayal, I just explained Makora case. बेटा अभी मैंने दोबारा भी समझाया आपको. So Shravani G, Miss Shravani G, this is how you have to replace the common seal, the one which I've just written over there. Fatima, I have already answered your query, beta. It's not written, but then Makora has made a company. Yes, Neha Singh, that's right. Yes, Rohit, I've already answered this question. If the insurance was in the name of the company, then he can claim the insurance compensation. All right. So let's have a small quiz over here. So there was a company, ABC Private Limited, ABS Private Limited, okay, having directors Mr. P, Q, and R, and a company secretary, Miss X, who needs to sign the document. I'm assuming they have not opted for the common seal. Now, who all needs to sign the document? Please answer me. For all the authentication of the documents, how the documents needs to be authenticated. ABS Private Limited, directors are PQR, and they have a company secretary, Miss X. Who needs to sign the document? You have to answer me. Rohit, the notes get uploaded after we have done. So Companies Act will be uploaded once we are done with the chapters. Ma'am, can I write the answer with point? Yes, you can write your answers in point, Mr. Bittu Singh. A director and CS of company. Okay, Mr. Suraj. Miss P. Yamini, I like your answer. Any of the directors, any of two directors, or Mr. P, Q, and Miss X, that's great. Either two directors can sign or one director and company will sign. That's also great. Excellent. All of you have given the correct answer. So any two directors can sign. It can be either any two directors, or since the company is having a company secretary. All right. So any one director and Miss X needs to sign the document. So where the company has appointed a company secretary, that company secretary along with one of the director simply needs to sign the document. All right, that's great. Now let's move ahead. Corporate veil theory. Now comes the time for your favorite and most interesting case law. I hope Makora is now clear, because now we are moving to the second important case law of today's session. That is Salomon versus Salomon and Company Limited. Now I'm going to explain it only one time, so pay full attention over here. Any doubts, ask me then and there. Okay. First of all, corporate veil का मतलब है कि company is protected. It is a shield. Shield means एक blanket, एक protection है company के ऊपर, that company is separated from the liability of its members. The liability of these 4 members who are the part of company, it's different, and company has its own liability. So there is a corporate shield. There is a curtain which exists between the company and the shareholders. Okay. Now, how this point was proved that the company and shareholders are different, this leading judgment, Supreme Court judgment, Salomon versus Salomon and Company Limited, laid down the foundation of corporate veil theory. पहला तो कॉर्पोरेट वेल का मतलब है कि कंपनी एंड शेयर होल्डर्स के बीच में एक पर्दा, कर्टन. वेल मीन्स अ कर्टन exists between separating the shareholders from the company. Who proved this point? How this point was proved? Salomon versus Salomon case has proved that company is different and shareholders are different. Now we are going to understand what happened in this case law. So House of Lords means the foreign courts which held this case. They said that the company is distinct from its members. All right, ma'am, you have already told us company is separate, members are different. So one Salomon person incorporated a company with 7 subscribers. अब मैंने आपको बताया था subscribers कौन होते हैं? वही shareholders, members जो company बना रहे हैं. जब आप company बना रहे हो तब आप subscribers हो. जब company बन जाती है तो आप members बन जाओ. तो ये subscribers तब members बन जाओ. तो अभी के लिए आप समझ सकते हो Salomon is the person who is making the company Salomon and Company Limited with 7 members. Who are these 7 members? One is Salomon himself. Second is his wife, 4 sons and 1 daughter. घर के लोगों को ही लेकर उसने कंपनी बना ली. बट कंपनी बनाई है, सोल प्रोप्राइटर नहीं है. अब झगड़ावाद में यही आया था कि यार तुम्हारे तो घर के मेंबर्स हैं, तुम खुद ही कंपनी हो और तुम खुद ही शेयर होल्डर्स हो. So let's listen to the story. What happened? Salomon, his wife, 1 daughter and 4 sons, 7 members. Company took over the personal business assets for now again. आप बोल रहे थे ना मकोरा में भी फातिमा was asking, it is not mentioned again. Salomon जब ये word आता है ना took over means पहले Salomon was running a business. He was into a shoe business. He was doing business as a sole proprietor. Now he is forming a company. So from the sole proprietor, company has taken over the personal business assets. So when you do the sale of business, you pay purchase consideration. पढ़ा हुआ है आपने उसमें accounts में. तो ये 38,782 pounds जो है ये purchase consideration उसने pay करी और business के सारे assets खरीद ली. After that, Salomon took 20,000 shares in the company. And he also took 10,000 debentures. Now, debentures is the kind of loan that you have advanced to the money company. So he has created a charge on company's assets, means it was a secured debentures. पढ़ लेना आज अपने accounts में जाकर आपको आता है secured debentures of these things. So what has Salomon done? Salomon has purchased the company for 38,000 pounds. How is he making the payment? He is paying 20,000 shares he has taken and 10,000 he has created a secured debt and balance was paid in cash. Now also his wife, daughter and son has taken up 1 share each in the company. So this is just an information how the company was formed. He took up 20,000 shares of 1 pound and the others have taken up 1 pound shares. Company went into liquidation, means company is now winding up. Now what happened? There were the unsecured creditors to the tune of 7,000 pounds. 7,000 pounds needs to be paid to the creditors. However, the assets were not sufficient. अब जब company liquidation में जाती है तो क्या होता है? When the company goes into liquidation, you need to pay to the outsiders first and then to the members. This is what happens, right? And who are the outsiders? First you pay secured creditors. Then you pay unsecured creditors. This is what is actually done. So now this company went, ये लिख लेना अपने short notes में जो सामने लिखा है. Company went into liquidation and only 7,000 pounds were there, pounds. Now they have to pay this 7,000 pounds, and they said there was a liability which was a secured creditor as well. So first we have to pay to the secured creditors, then outsider creditors, and then members should have been paid off. Now, since the unsecured creditors were only for 7,000. And the assets, let's assume the assets were around 6,000. Actually, they have not given the complete information. Let's assume assets worth 6,000 were only left. And they had to pay back 10,000 to secured creditors. Who were the secured creditors, children? Who has given secured debentures? Salomon? Salomon has already invested the secured debentures, 10,000. He has taken the debentures in the company by having a security on company's assets. So now entire 6,000 assets was paid to Salomon, and outside creditors got nothing. गड़बड़ हो गया. उन्होंने कहा 7,000 उनकी लाइबिलिटी थी आउटसाइडर्स की, अनसिक्योर्ड क्रेडिटर्स की, बट कंपनी के एसेट्स हमने अज्यूम करा सिर्फ 6,000 पाउंड्स थे. तो हमने सारा का सारा, हमारे पास 10,000 है भी नहीं है सिक्योर्ड क्रेडिटर्स को देने के लिए, सैलोमन को, हमने 6,000 उसी को ही दे दी. एंड नथिंग वाज गिवन टू द आउटसाइडर्स. इज इट फेयर? यू टेल मी, वाज इट राइट दैट व्हाट हैज बीन डन? Thank you so much, Mr. Himanshu Chore. Great. I'm glad to know that you've cleared your CA foundation. Good. Happy to read that. All right. So please tell me your answers. Yes, Anshika Jan, Salomon will be given. Okay. Liability of members and difference. That's great. Please send me the answers. Is it correct? Is it fair? Can we give the money back to the secured creditors only and nothing has been given to the outsiders? Is it fine? Nishi Garg, you want me to make it a little dark? Red. I hope now it's visible. Oh, it's no visible. Okay. No, ma'am, it's not done. This is not good because secured creditors are paid first. That's great. Om Gupta, Gaurav, you're also right. Others are all saying, no, ma'am, it's not fair. So let's read what Lord MacNaughton has to say. ये foreign का उनका जो court वाला बंदा था, Lord MacNaughton is the person who was in the court at that time. What did he held? He said, look, company is different person from the subscribers. Even if all the profits are in the hand of one person, even if the Salomon is running the company on his own, even if all the shareholders are his family members, but please remember, company is different and all these 7 shareholders are different. Now, company has to pay the liabilities. It will always pay the secured creditors first. So, children, Salomon was paid. Please write it down. Salomon was paid. If I use black pen only, Nishi, then it won't be visible. You will not find the difference. Okay. Salomon was paid because he was the secured creditor of the company, not because he was the owner. So owners are different, companies are different. He was paid because he has already taken the secured debentures in the company. Assets have been secured to effect of that. So now the payment has been made to effect of that. So he was not being paid because he's the owner. He was paid because he was the secured creditor of the company. All right. And secondly, nothing was given to the shareholders because nothing was left. So it is absolutely clear. We have to understand that the company and shareholders are different. It was established that the company has its own existence. Even though entire share capital is being held by one shareholder, then also company is different, shareholders are different. All right. So please go through this case law. And we'll just take a small break over here, just go through the Salomon versus Salomon, and then we'll move ahead. Right, students, let's move ahead. Rohit is saying Salomon was such an intelligent person because he has taken the credit. Do you mean to say by that? Yes, Amit. Managing director of one man company, so that they're trying to tell you that one. I hope I'm audible. Okay, so he is trying to say that Salomon was the managing director of one man company because his own shareholders are his own family members, no, wife, children, son, daughter. So they are saying that he was running his own company. Chanchal saying, I hope now your doubt is clear why we have not paid to the outsiders. All right, good. So all the doubts have been clear. That's great and very well that you have understood the corporate whale theory. Now what happened, children, was, so this is what has been given over here in my notes. So I've shown you a proper shield where the company and shareholders are having a curtain between them and they are being acting differently. So this is what was concluded, that company has its own existence and shareholder cannot be held liable for the acts of the companies, all right? So the company has to pay to the outsiders as well as to the secured creditors. He cannot be held liable for the acts of the company. But can we lift this corporate veil? What is the meaning of lifting of corporate veil? इसके केसेस तो हम बाद में समझेंगे, बट पहले ये जानना जरूरी है कि लिफ्टिंग ऑफ कॉर्पोरेट वेल का मीनिंग क्या होता है. अब वो कह रहे शेयर होल्डर्स एंड कंपनी आर डिफरेंट एंड देयर इज अ कर्टन बिटवीन देम. नाउ व्हेन वी लिफ्ट दिस कर्टन, in those cases shareholders and company become one. So why this lifting needs to be happened? This is also a brief summary I have added to the notes for the Salomon versus Salomon. It says corporate veil is the concept that defines, sorry, it tells you that the members are shielded from the liability connected to the companies. Company incur any debts. Corporate veil means members should not be liable for those errors. They enjoy their corporate insulation. Now, company will have to bear its own debts. Members have to bear their own debts. So the acts of the shareholders are protected from the acts of the company. This was the foundation of corporate veil laid down in the Salomon versus Salomon case. अब क्या होने लगा, उन्होंने बोला कंपनी की सेपरेट लीगल एग्जिस्टेंस है, शेयर होल्डर्स अलग है. तो इस वजह से ना बहुत सारे फ्रॉड होने लग गए. जैसे कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई एम रनिंग अ कंपनी and I have formed a company, and me and my other shareholders, we started doing fraudulent activities. We went into illegal business. We started keeping weapons and all this kind of thing. Now court came and said that, Harleen, what are you doing? You can't do this kind of illegal activities. And I acted smart. I said, don't you know corporate veil theory? I am different. My company is different. All these arrangements of illegal weapons has been made by my company. So go hold my company. Why are you holding me? Can I do that? How can they hold the company? Who is liable for all this thing? Who are the human agency who are doing all these violent kind of acts? So law said, in order to protect the interest of shareholders, now shareholders means those who are investing in my company, having the faith in my organization, they have invested their money in my company. Now this company is into fraudulent activities. अब कंपनी खुद चलकर तो नहीं गई है ना वेपन्स खरीदने. हम जो डायरेक्टर्स एंड शेयर होल्डर्स है बिहाइंड द कंपनी, हम लोग ही इलीगल एक्टिविटीज में इन्वॉल्व हो रहे हैं. तो लॉ सेड इन सच केसेस वी हैव टू लिफ्ट द कॉर्पोरेट वेल and the company and shareholders will be treated as one. So lifting of corporate veil means these are the cases where shareholders and company are treated as one and there is no separate legal existence. कहते हैं इन केसेस में, तो फिर लॉ ने क्या करा, शेयर होल्डर्स के इंटरेस्ट को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए 5 ऐसे केसेस बना दिए, एक्सेप्शंस दे दी टू द कंसेप्ट ऑफ सेपरेट लीगल एग्जिस्टेंस. So it says in these 5 cases, it will not be considered as a separate legal entity concept, and the company and shareholders will be treated as one. So please write down, lifting of corporate veil means these are the cases where shareholders and owners and company will be treated as one. Very good, Rohit, Nishi, Om, Gupta, Venkat, Lakshmi. All of you are writing. We are crystal clear. That's great. Mohammed Shahib, regarding the loan taken from the company and repayment, this is a different kind of concept that you need to understand. But simply, if you have given any advance to the company and you are a secured against some security, you are a secured creditor, then the company needs to pay you at the time of binding. Regarding personally holding liable, liability of the company is different and liability of members is different. All right, let's move ahead. So now these are the cases where the corporate veil needs to be lifted to determine the character of the company, where you're trading with the alien enemy. So all of you tell me, children, can we trade with our alien enemy? Are there any restrictions on trading with the alien enemy? So there is a very important alien enemy case law reference, that is Daimler Company Limited versus Continental Tire and Rubber Company. Each and every line. Now 3 another important case laws. I told you we'll be doing 5 for the target. In the first few hours, we have done 2 important case laws. Now 3 another case laws are coming up, which are very, very interesting. And exactly unke base pe question aa jata hai exam. All right. Thank you, Nishi Garg. I'm so happy when you tell me this session is interesting. This is because you people respond so nice. So lifting of corporate veil, please quickly answer me. Can we trade with the alien enemy? Who is the alien enemy? Is the trading with enemies allowed? Answer that. We have quiz also after this. So trading with alien enemy is not allowed as per the Indian Contract Act. We cannot trade. That's great. All of you have answered it correctly. So what happens if we are having not cordial relationships with another country, then we cannot do any kind of business with that country. So in such cases, corporate veil is lifted. For any tax evasion where you're trying to create a company for avoiding any taxes, then also corporate veil is lifted. So all these cases, let us cover them one by one from the study material. And this, for the summary, you can refer to my notes. So this is the very, very important leading case law, Daimler Company Limited versus Continental Rubber and Tire. So I'll just briefly tell you the summary of this case law. What happened is, this Daimler Company Limited, they have formed a company in England, and although they were all German citizens. So now Continental Tire and Rubber Company was an England company. It was the company being run in England. Actually, they should have given this complete information so that you don't have to look here and there. So it says where you're trading with your alien enemy, the test of control is adopted. Means basically, for example, in a layman's language, for example, India and Pakistan mein agar kal ko war start ho jaye, so can India and Pakistan do some trading together? Or US and China, for example, have a war, then US people and China people cannot do business together. Why do you think it is not allowed? It is not allowed because when we do business, we are exchanging money, circulation of money is happening. And at the same time, that money, our country is also using the money to create weapons against you because it's a war going on. So law says you cannot do business. You are giving money to the others to purchase weapons for you against your country. So simply you have to remember, where any kind of enemy kind of relationships with a country or with the friends, then you cannot, then the company and shareholders are treated as the one and the same thing. Corporate veil will be lifted. Okay. So now what happened is, in such a case, Daimler Company Limited versus Continental Tire and Rubber, here this Daimler Company, all the German citizens formed a company in England. And Continental Tire and Rubber Company, children, this was the company in England with which they were doing the business. Now, England company had to pay certain debt to Daimler Company. And when England and Germany started having war, this was during the First World War, they said, now we will not pay you the debt because now you have become an alien enemy. So Daimler company running went to the court and they said, look, we are German citizens, but our company is an England-based company. So company is different, shareholders are different. But law said, World War situation, trade enemy, alien enemy, left the corporate veil, shareholders and company become the same. Now, since it is being run by German citizens, so आपकी Daimler company को German company माना जाएगा. And Continental वाली तो है ही rubber company England में. So now Germany and England cannot trade together. Therefore, he could not recover their debt from the Continental Tire and Rubber Company. It says where all the affairs are under the control of people of alien, right? So कह रहे हैं आपके सारे Daimler company के सारे जो business है, affairs है, वो German citizens के हाथ में. So now German citizens are having a war with us. So now lifted corporate veil for Daimler company was lifted, and Daimler company and the German citizens were treated as one. And it was held that Continental company जो England की company है, वो German company के साथ trade नहीं कर सकती. So law says you have to find the real character. You have to find out who are the real owners of the company in case of an alien enemy. Then only you can take a decision whether you can trade with them or you cannot trade. हो गया clear? Next, let's move to another very, very simple case law where the corporate entity is trying to evade or circumvent tax, means where you are trying to do the tax evasion. आपका revenue आ रहा है, आप 1 crore से भी ज्यादा income कमा रहे हो and आप tax pay ही नहीं कर रहे हो government. So under income tax, you have certain tax slab rates. If you fall within the tax slab rate, you have to pay income tax to the government. So in order to protect the revenue of government, protect the revenue means income tax कहाँ जाता है? Government का revenue बनता है. So government के revenue में अगर कोई टोक आ रही है, अगर government का tax पूरा नहीं हो रहा है, तब भी corporate bail lift की जा सकती है. If government revenue is not being paid, that is if you're not paying the taxes, in that case also, second point, corporate bail can be lifted. Now what happened in Dinshaw Managee Pettit Company? This is again a very interesting story. There was this man, Mr. Dinshaw. He was a very smart person. अभी तो आप Salomon को intelligent कह रहे थे, Dinshaw तो over intelligent. He was having huge income by way of dividends. So ये क्या करता था, इसने बहुत सारे shares खरीदे हुए थे and interest आता था इसको. Investments की हुई थी इसने, huge investments. Mr. Dinshaw has made huge investments. So what was his income? His income was dividends and interest. Now, what do you actually do when you get this income in your profit and loss account? When you have this income, dividends and interest, then you need to pay income tax on it. Taxation में आप पढ़ोगे BCom second year, third year में कि आपको income tax pay करना पड़ता है. CA इंटर में भी आएगा taxation. But इसने क्या करा मिस्टर डिंशॉ ने? इसने ये सारा जो dividends and investment interest income था, he invested it into 4 different companies. He created 1, 2, 3, 4 different companies and invested this entire dividend income in that. He opened up different companies and purchased the shares from his dividend and interest income. And then he took loan from this company. So what did he do? He got income, invested it in 4 different companies, and then took a loan back from these companies. Very interesting. पैसा आया, इन्वेस्ट करा और फिर उन कंपनी से लोन ले लिया. तो पैसा पहले मेरी कंपनी से इन कंपनीज में गया, अब वो लोन से मेरे पास आ गया, फिर मेरी इंटरेस्ट इनकम आई, फिर से इन्वेस्टमेंट गई, फिर से लोन आ गया. Circulation of money is happening. Am I doing any business? Are those companies doing any kind of business? Court said the private companies were purely a sham. Sham means they were not doing any kind of business. They were just created to fraud, to do a fraud. He was simply trying to create a sham, means the companies were not open for any kind of purpose. The companies were only opened for a manipulation so that he can avoid his taxes. So अगर प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट में ही डिविडेंड एंड इंटरेस्ट इनकम दिखती रहती तो उसको टैक्स पे करना पड़ता, इनकम फ्रॉम अदर सोर्सेस में दिखाना पड़ता इनकम को, एंड इनकम टैक्स पे करना पड़ता. तो उसने वो इनकम को इन्वेस्ट कर दिया एंड लोन ले लिया उनसे वापस. So जब कोर्ट ने देखा कि the balance sheet is not reflecting a clear picture, all the 4 companies are not doing any business, they are simply a sham, they're not having any kind of business. So corporate veil was lifted and all those 4 companies and Dinshaw was treated as one person, and it was held that Dinshaw is doing a mistake, he is only trying to avoid the income tax. Therefore corporate veil lifting was done to find the real owner. Who is the real owner of this income? Dinshaw ने बोला वो कंपनीज के पास है मेरी इनकम, उनसे जाकर टैक्स ले लो. कहते कंपनीज का रियल ओनर तो आप हो, कंपनीज तो कोई बिजनेस ही नहीं कर रही है, उनमें तो कोई पैसा ही नहीं है क्योंकि उन्होंने लोन दिया हुआ है आपको और उस लोन के ऊपर कोई इंटरेस्ट भी नहीं आ रहा है. So Dinshaw case is very, very interesting. Examiner has given you 5-6 times this question that there's a person, he made such a company. I will ask you in the next class. So by Monday, all these case laws have to be on tips. So you have interesting, even mock test papers we are going to do on Monday. So be prepared to answer all these questions. Okay, and there I'll teach you how you actually have to write the answers to such kind of questions. The third case is to avoid a legal obligation. Now what happened is, I am running an organization and I have to pay bonus to my laborers. This particular case law, Workmen of Associate Rubber Industry versus Associated Rubber Industry Limited. So we have 2 more case laws. एक ये भी है. इन्होंने क्या करा? There was a company, and as per the labor laws, it was important if you have the profits, then you have to pay the bonus to your workers. Instead of paying the bonuses, they opened a subsidiary company. So they just made an investment to open up a company in order to reduce their liability to pay the bonus. So in the first paragraph, you can simply read the story. He is just trying to tell you that A purchased shares of B Limited by investing. So they have opened up the shares. We will understand how the holding and subsidiary is created in the next class. But अभी के लिए इतना समझ लो कि इस कंपनी में जो भी उनके सरप्लस प्रॉफिट्स बच रहे थे, उनसे उन्होंने वर्कर्स को बोनस देना था. अब वर्कर्स को बोनस ना देना पड़े, उन्होंने एक सब्सिडरी कंपनी क्रिएट कर दी. So again, they were trying to avoid the legal obligation. What was the legal obligation? As per the labor laws, it was compulsory to pay the bonus. So they were trying to avoid payment of the bonus. So that particular subsidiary company and the owners were held one, and they were held liable for avoiding this legal obligation. So where you're trying to reduce the bonuses to the workers and you're opening a company, the real transaction needs to be seen, why it is being opened. So if the real transaction is simply to avoid the bonus to the workers, then the corporate veil lifting has to be done. And similarly, the fourth point is also very, very similar, where the subsidiaries are only acting as an agent, where you just try to lose your individuality. You have created the companies and they're just doing business on your behalf. Then also, principal will be held liable, means that the holding company which has created these subsidiaries to act as agent will be treated as one. And comes my very, very favorite case law, Guilford Motor Company versus Horn. अब ये तो बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग है. इसमें क्या हुआ था, कहते हैं कुछ भी अगर आप ऐसी कोई कंपनी बनाते हो जहां पे आप फ्रॉड करने के लिए वो कंपनी बना रहे हो, आपको कोई पर्पस नहीं है कंपनी को इनकॉर्पोरेट करने का, पर्पस ही इलीगल है. सो इट सेज वेयर एनी कंपनी इज फॉर्म्ड फॉर फ्रॉड और इम्प्रॉपर कंडक्ट और इट इज डिफीटिंग लॉ. Defeating law means you are not following the provisions of the law. Where incorporation is done of company for some illegal act or to defraud the creditors or to avoid any legal obligations, then corporate veil is lifted. अब आराम से स्टोरी सुनते हैं. गिलफोर्ड मोटर कंपनी वर्सेस हॉर्न में क्या हुआ था. एक एम्प्लॉय थे मिस्टर हॉर्न. He was working in a particular organization. When he left that organization, he made a promise with the company that I will not do the same kind of business and I will not try to attract your customers. Remember, under partnership also, restrictions on the trade limit. We have already discussed about section 36, 37. We talked about these kind of things. that if you're leaving a particular organization, maybe a company or partnership, then certain restrictions can be imposed on you, that you're not entitled to do the business within the specified limits, or you cannot do the similar kind of competing business because you have learned the trade secrets from our company, right? So now this Mr. Horn was very bad person. He made up a company and started doing all the similar kind of business that he was doing in the previous company. That was Guilford Motor Company. So Guilford Motor felt very bad. They said, how can you do this? You told us that you will not cheat us. You will not set up a competitive person. Now you're going to our customers also. And your company is taking our business. So Mr. Horn said, my company, not me. Go hold my company. I'm different. My company is different. We have a corporate veil. So here Mr. Horn is trying to act smart. Law said, how this company is going and attracting the customers? Company has legs to walk. It's you, Mr. Horn, the director behind the company, who is doing all the illegal acts. You're trying to defraud the creditors. You're doing all these fraudulent activities. So Mr. Horn and the company that he has created were treated as one because corporate bail was lifted and action was taken against Mr. Horn. So law says basic rule is corporate bail exists. There is a shield between shareholders and the company. But the moment you try to cheat law, you try to do any fraud, illegal actions, alien enemies, dividend investment income manipulation, avoiding the taxes, avoiding any legal obligations, then the corporate veil is lifted and company and shareholders are treated as one, and the action can be taken against that particular shareholder. Samajh gaye? 6 case laws we have done today. Daimler Company Limited, naam yaad kar lena, alien enemy case hai. Dinshaw Manic Chief, protecting the revenue. Guilford Motor Company, fraud and misconduct. 3 case laws you can remember. So we have good 10 minutes for your queries as well as MCQs. Yes, Rohit, Russia and Ukraine, excellent example. After the war, Mr. Pavan, yes, after the war, when the conditions subside, if you're not doing anything illegally wrong, you can have good relationships. Mr. Krishna Marathi, it's particularly in the case of war. जब लड़ाई छिड़ी होती है, अभी हमारी ऐसी किसी के साथ कोई लड़ाई नहीं है. So enemy relationships are called when we have a war. Mr. Sadab is happy to see how Dinshaw was behaving. So question number 1 is in front of you. I'm also trying to look for the queries. Now you can ask your queries also in between. So 1A is correct. This was a very simple question. Company is different from shareholders. That means you have attended the lecture carefully. True is the correct answer. Please read question number 2 and send the answers. Please send the answer for the second one. Will the company come to an end or it continues to exist? What will happen? Shruti Tiwari, excellent, because it has a perpetual succession. Great to be all of you. Ms. Jyot Kumari, Amar, Harshita, Deepika, Durga, Priya Darshni, Vindhya, Pavan, all of you have sent the correct answer. Lavina, Shamya, 2B is the correct answer. Very good, children. Now, read the question carefully and give me the answer for the third one. Should the corporate bail be lifted or it should not be lifted? What do you say? Very good. All those who have given the correct answer for third, yes, the corporate bail should be lifted is the correct answer. Why? Because Dinshaw Maningji case will become applicable, children. He is just trying to evade taxes. Those who are asking the meaning of evade, evade means to avoid paying the taxes. Okay, this we have not yet done, maximum number of members. So on Monday, we'll be starting about the classification of companies. So companies are classified on the basis of liability, incorporation, we have OPC. So all this will be taken up from Monday. We have already done this. Now, if you have any queries, you can send me because we still have 10 minutes. I think on the basis of incorporation company, we can still do. Anyone has any queries, you can ask. Otherwise, we will proceed ahead. Why to waste time? We have 10 minutes. We are on time today. Very good, Chanchal Singh. Good. All your queries have been answered. So that's great. So let's move ahead, children. We can do at least one type of companies on the basis of liability. The study material is showing on the basis of liability first. So let's do the companies on the basis of liability. So we have already discussed company limited by shares. Just mark the important points over here. Number one point is that when the company is limited by share, okay, Mr. Mohammed Amrat Ali, you can make a proper timetable and plan your studies. For as of now, I would say that on 14th and 16th, and even today, you complete the Companies Act with us. After that, you can start making your proper timetable for other acts for law. Okay. Thank you, Harshita. Vishali saying, ma'am, give us some study tips. All topics are clear. Okay, let's complete this one also. So then we can move ahead to this. Let's complete at least one ek kar lete, company limited by shares. Okay. Section 2, subsection 2. Okay, you can leave the sections. If you can learn it, well and fine. Never write a wrong section. It says where the members of the company liability is limited by its memorandum of the association. So where is the liability? It is written that the company is limited by shares. So where it is written in the memorandum of association. Memorandum will mention how much liability the members have to pay in case it is company limited by shares. For meeting the point number 2 is for meeting the debts of the company means whenever you have to pay the liability, you will only be required to pay the unpaid amount of the shareholders. Now let's assume Mr. A is a shareholder in company limited by share and he has taken up 10,000 shares, each share of being rupees 10 each. Now let's assume that he has paid up rupees 8 per share. So how much is the share capital? 8 into 10,000 is 80,000. So how much is the unpaid share capital? You tell me. चलो आप बताओ. अगर 10 रुपीज का शेयर है और हमने 8 रुपीज पे अप करे हुए हैं, subsections, yes, Nishi, but you don't need to learn it. It's not necessary. Thank you, Ritu Biravatkar. I'm glad you're enjoying the session. Thank you so much. हाँ जी, अब मुझे बताओ, अगर आपके पास शेयर्स हैं 10 रुपीज पर शेयर है and the paid up share capital is you have paid up piece 8. How much is the unpaid? 20,000 is the unpaid share capital. Now it means that whenever the liabilities, debts means liabilities of the company will occur, you will only be required to pay this 20,000 and not beyond that. This is the meaning of company limited by shares. Okay, so you will only be required to pay 20,000. His separate property will not be used for meeting the company's debts. We cannot say that if, for example, if there is a 1 lakh liability of the company, so Mr. A is now only liable up till rupees 20,000. His personal property will not be liable to pay for the company's liabilities. All right, 2 points ho gaye. Shareholder is a co-owner. He is not co-owner of the company's assets. Makora has already told us property of the company is different. Property of shareholders is different. एक और कर लेते हैं, कंपनी लिमिटेड बाय गारंटी. कंपनी लिमिटेड बाय गारंटी का भी पॉइंट नंबर 1 मार्क कर लो. Point number 1, where it is written in the memorandum of association. So memorandum of the, somebody is asking, ma'am, what is memorandum of association? Beta third lecture में I will explain you what is memorandum of association. अभी के लिए simply समझ लो कि memorandum is a document, a very important document of the company. Okay. Yes, Mr. Suraj, even if you start studying from today, you can complete your syllabus. Don't worry, children. What is important is that you should study consistent. अभी से भी शुरू करोगे तब भी हो जाएगा, संडे से भी शुरू करोगे तब भी हो जाएगा, but please start कर दीजिए, don't delay it, don't postpone it. Okay. नहीं उमेश कुमार, sections are not compulsory for CA foundation, CA inter में compulsory है. Okay, and point number 2 is liability of the member is limited up to the amount mentioned in the memorandum. So here, if you have guaranteed that I will pay up till 10,000, now in case of liquidation, you will not be required to pay more than rupees 10,000. So in both the cases, company limited by shares and company limited by guarantee, we have just learned 2 points. Both the cases, where is the liability mentioned? Memorandum of association. Memorandum is a very, very important document of a company. वो कंपनी का ऐसा डॉक्यूमेंट है जो बताता है कंपनी के बिजनेस के बारे में, कंपनी क्या बिजनेस करती है, किस तरह से करती है, कंपनी का ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है फॉर फॉर्मिंग द कंपनी. बट डिटेल में मेमोरेंडम हम थर्ड लेक्चर में कवर करेंगे. सो कंपनी लिमिटेड बाय शेयर्स में वैल्यू ऑफ द शेयर कैपिटल इज रिटन इन द मेमोरेंडम, एंड कंपनी लिमिटेड बाय गारंटी में the amount of guarantee given by the members is given in the memorandum. Here you are liable to pay the value unpaid on the shares. Here you are liable to pay only the amount that the guarantee that you have given. In case of company limited by shares, anytime you can be asked to pay off the liability. However, in case of company limited by guarantee, you are required to pay the amount only at the time of liquidation. अब इसके अंदर भी बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग केस तो है, बट आज नहीं कराऊंगी, 6 हो गए हैं तो फिर क्लास में नहीं आ पाओगे मंडे को, इतने सारे केस लॉस बोलोगे कि मैम ने सारा कुछ ही पढ़ा दिया. So let's stop here. So now if you still have any doubts, you can ask. We have 2 minutes left. Yes, where the article of association is also part of your syllabus. Thank you, Umesh. Thank you, Om Gupta. Yes, Suraj, that's correct. मोहम्मद शोहेब आर्टिकल्स भी करेंगे हम, पर उतना ही करेंगे जितना सीए फाउंडेशन में. पवन आर्टिकल्स ऑफ एसोसिएशन लेक्चर 3rd में आएगा. Thank you, Rohani. Thank you, Palak. Thank you, Dhruv Shah. I hope now everything is clear. I don't think so you have any other doubts. So please, children, revise. All of you have to revise whatever you have done till date. And for this Saturday, Sunday, go through the 6 case laws. Try doing the questions from the mock test papers. On the where you can see your study material. Before going to the link of study material, you can open up the mock test papers. Let me show you where you can open up. So when you go to icai.org, you wanted me to show you where it is. So this is the link of ICAI, children. ICAI.org, you can open up and then you can go to the section of study material, relevant amendments. So when you click on this relevant amendment, only one small amendment is there for Companies Act. We will do that. These are your revision test papers, suggested answers, and mock test papers. All right. So you can just go through this from here. ICAI, www.icai.org site has to be open. Mr. Mohil Kumar, next class we will discuss memorandum, don't worry. All right, thank you, students. Yes, Mr. Mohammed, that's great. All right, thank you, Sakshi Kumari. Thank you, Venkat Lakshmi. Thank you, Vishali C. Thank you, children. Thank you so much. And do study well. I am glad that you have enjoyed the lecture, but I will be equally glad if you will revise and you will study also whatever you have learned in the class. All right, thank you. See you all on Monday. Goodbye.